The flight from Seattle to Chicago is 5 hours. I spent all 5 hours rehearsing what I was going to say. By the time we landed, I'd written and rewritten the speech in my head a dozen times. None of it mattered, because the moment I saw Ruby's face when she opened her door, all the practiced words disappeared. I took a cab straight from the airport to Ruby's house. Didn't go to a hotel, didn't call ahead, didn't warn anyone. I wanted the element of surprise. I wanted them off balance. It was 10 a.m. on a Saturday. I knew she'd be home. I rang the doorbell. Footsteps, the door opened. Ruby's face went from confused to shocked to pale in about 3 seconds. "Danny, we need to talk. What are you doing here? I know about Opal. I know what you found in her room. I know why you cut me off. And now you're going to explain to me why you blamed me instead of getting your daughter professional help." Her hand tightened on the doorframe. "Who told you? Does it matter? Danny, this isn't a good time. Ruby, let me in, or we have this conversation on your front porch where your neighbors can hear." She stepped back. I walked in. The house looked the same. Family photos on the walls, Opal's school artwork on the fridge. Everything normal. Everything a lie. Ruby closed the door behind me. "Where's Opal?" I asked. "At a friend's house." "And your husband?" "Grocery store." "Good, then it's just us." She stood in the hallway, arms crossed, defensive. "Ruby, I need you to understand something. I had no idea what Opal was feeling. None. I was her uncle. I helped with homework. I showed up to family events. I was appropriate, always." "Danny, let me finish. I spent 6 months thinking I'd done something unforgivable. I went to therapy. I moved across the country. I cut myself off from everything familiar because you made me think I was the problem." "You were the problem," she said quietly. How was I the problem?" "Your presence created the situation." "My presence, Ruby, I existed. I was her uncle. That's not a crime." "You didn't see what I saw." "Then tell me what you saw, because I deserve to know what I'm being blamed for." She took a breath. "I walked into her room. She didn't know I was home early. The door was slightly open. She had photos of you spread out on her bed. Some printed, some on her laptop screen, and she was." Ruby's voice trailed off. "And she was what?" "You know what. Say it." "She was touching herself, Danny, with your photo right there, with your shirt that she'd taken from our house wrapped around her, with your coffee mug next to her bed." The words hit like physical blows. "That's not my fault. Isn't it? Did you do something to make her feel that way?" "No, Ruby, no. I helped her with college essays. I asked about school. I was proud of her accomplishments. I was her uncle." "Maybe you were too attentive." "Too attentive? What does that even mean?" "You always made time for her. You always asked about her day. You made her feel special." "That's what uncles do. That's being a good family member." "Well, she took it the wrong way." "Then that's something Opal needed help processing, with a therapist, not by cutting me off and never explaining why." Ruby's eyes were wet now. "I panicked, okay? I didn't know what to do. My 16-year-old daughter had feelings for her uncle, inappropriate feelings, and I found her in that position and I couldn't think. So you made it my fault." "I had to protect her." "From what? I wasn't doing anything. I didn't know." "I couldn't risk it." "Risk what, Ruby? Me being alone with her? Fine. Set boundaries. Tell me what happened. We could have handled it together like family." "I couldn't tell you. It would have been too humiliating. For her, for all of us." "So you just cut me off. No explanation. Let me think I'd done something terrible." "It was easier." "Easier for who?" She didn't answer. "Did you get Opal help?" I asked. "Therapy, counseling, anything?" Ruby looked away. Ruby, did you get your daughter professional help for this? I thought if you weren't around, she'd move on. She's a 16-year-old with an inappropriate fixation on an adult family member, and you thought she'd just get over it without help. She seemed better after a few weeks. Seemed better, or learned to hide it better. Danny, did you ever ask her if I did anything inappropriate? Did you ever confirm with your own daughter that I hadn't crossed any lines? Ruby's silence was answer enough. You didn't, you assumed. You found evidence of her feelings and you immediately decided I must have caused them somehow. I had to protect her. You failed her and you failed me. The front door opened. Ruby's husband, Mark, walked in with grocery bags. He saw me. Danny, what are you doing here? I came for answers. Ruby, did you tell him? He already knew, someone told him. Mark set down the bags. You need to leave. I need to hear from my parents why they went along with this. I need to hear from my siblings. I need to understand how my entire family decided exile was the answer. We were protecting Opal, Mark said. No, you were protecting yourselves from difficult conversations, from admitting your daughter needed help, from dealing with something complicated. Get out of my house. I'm going, but not before I see my parents. I drove to my parents' house. Same route I'd taken 100 times. Everything familiar, everything different. I didn't call ahead. I parked in the driveway. My father's car was there, so was my mother's. I walked to the front door. The door my father had closed in my face 6 months ago. I rang the bell. My mother answered. Her face did the same progression as Ruby's. Confusion, shock, fear. Daniel. Hi, Mom, can I come in? This isn't a good time. Mom, please. She stepped back. My father was in the living room. He stood up when he saw me. What are you doing here? I know about Opal. I know why you cut me off. And I'm here because you owe me an explanation, a real one to my face. We sat in the living room. The same room where we'd had 1,000 family gatherings. Christmas mornings, birthday parties, game nights. Now it felt like a courtroom. Ruby found something concerning, my mother started. I know what she found. What I don't understand is why you believed I caused it. We didn't know what to believe, my father said. So you assumed the worst about your own son. We had to consider Opal's welfare, my mother said. What about my welfare? I'm your son. You cut me off without explanation. You closed the door in my face when I begged for answers. You let me move across the country thinking I'd done something unforgivable. We thought it was for the best. For who? Not for me. Not for Opal, who clearly needed professional help that she didn't get. We didn't want this to become a big thing, my father said. A big thing, Dad. Your granddaughter had an inappropriate fixation on an adult family member. That is a big thing. That requires therapy, professional intervention, not just removing the object of fixation and hoping it goes away. We didn't want her to feel stigmatized, my mother said. But it was fine for me to feel exiled, abandoned, like I'd committed some crime I couldn't even name. My father leaned forward. Danny, we had to make a choice. Between potentially upsetting Opal further or taking preventative measures, we chose to protect her. By sacrificing me. We thought you'd understand eventually. Understand what? That I'm disposable, that when things get complicated, I'm the one who gets cut off. That's not fair, my mother said. Fair? You want to talk about fair? I spent 6 months in hell, questioning everything I'd ever done, thinking I must have hurt someone or said something terrible or done something unforgivable, and all of you let me suffer, knowing the truth, and you said nothing. We didn't know how to tell you, my mother said. How about Danny? We need to talk. Opal has developed some feelings that are concerning. We're getting her help. We need to set some boundaries for a while. That's how, with honesty, like family. It wasn't that simple. It was exactly that simple. You chose the complicated way, the cruel way. Silence. Rain started outside. Chicago rain, different from Seattle rain somehow. Did any of you ever consider that I might be hurt by this? I asked. Did anyone think about what it would do to me? We thought you'd be relieved to have some distance, my father said. Relieved I was destroyed. You seem to be doing fine, my mother said. You got a new job, moved to Seattle, you seem to be moving on. Because I had no choice. Because none of you would talk to me. Because I had to build a new life since you took the old one away. My mother's eyes filled with tears. We're sorry you were hurt, but we don't regret protecting Opal. You didn't protect her. You protected yourselves from an uncomfortable situation, and you threw me away to do it. The front door opened again. Marcus walked in, then Jade, then Amber. Ruby must have called them. They all stood in the doorway of the living room. My siblings, my family, all looking at me like I was the problem. You know, Marcus said. I know. Ruby told us you showed up. And you all came to, what, defend her decision. Jade spoke. Danny, we all agreed this was the right choice at the time. Based on what? Did any of you talk to me, ask my side, or did you just believe I must have done something to cause this? We didn't want to make things worse, Amber said. Worse than exiling your brother without explanation. We didn't exile you, Marcus said. We just needed space to handle the situation. For 6 months with no communication, that's exile. You could have tried harder to reach us, Jade said. I tried for 4 months. Then I gave up because I thought I'd done something unforgivable, because none of you would tell me the truth. We stood there, all of us. The family that used to gather for barbecues and game nights. Now standing in separate camps. Them against me. I have one question, I said. Did anyone in this family ever defend me? Did anyone say, wait, let's talk to Danny before we cut him off? Did anyone consider that I might be innocent? Silence. No one, I said, not one of you. We had to protect Opal, Ruby said from behind the others. You keep saying that, but you didn't protect her. You didn't get her therapy. You didn't address the actual problem. You just removed me and declared victory. What do you want from us, Danny? My father asked. I want you to admit you were wrong. I want you to say that you failed both me and Opal. I want you to acknowledge that what you did was cruel and cowardly. We did what we thought was right, my mother said. Then we're done here. I walked to the door. My family parted to let me through. No one stopped me. No one apologized. I got to the front door and turned back. I hope Opal gets help eventually, real help, because what you did didn't fix anything. It just taught her that when things get complicated, we blame someone and cut them off. That's the legacy you're giving her. I walked out, got in my rental car, drove away. I didn't go to a hotel. I drove straight back to the airport, changed my flight to the next one out, sat in the terminal for 3 hours. I called my therapist from the gate. How did it go? She asked. About how I expected. No apologies, no admissions of wrongdoing, just justifications. Are you okay? I'm relieved. I got my answers. They're not good answers, but at least I know. What now? Now I go back to Seattle. I continue therapy. I build a life that doesn't include them. That's healthy. It doesn't feel healthy. It feels like giving up. Sometimes walking away from people who hurt you is the healthiest thing you can do. The flight back to Seattle was quiet. I had a window seat, watched the clouds, thought about everything that had happened. My family chose to protect themselves. They chose the easy lie over the hard truth. They chose to blame me rather than address Opal's mental health. And when confronted, they doubled down. No apologies. No accountability. Just justifications. 3 days later, I got an email. From Opal. The subject line, "I'm sorry." I stared at it for 10 minutes before opening it. The email was short. "Uncle Danny, my mom told me you came back. She told me you know. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for the feelings I had. I'm sorry they cut you off. I'm sorry I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to do. I was so confused. And then my mom found everything and she was so angry and disappointed and I felt like a monster. She said it was better if you weren't around, that you'd understand eventually. I should have said something. I should have told them you never did anything wrong, but I was so ashamed. I miss you. I miss having an uncle who actually cared about my life. I'm getting help now. Finally, a therapist. It's helping. I don't expect you to forgive me, or them. I just wanted you to know that I know it wasn't your fault. It was never your fault. Opal." I read the email 5 times. Then I wrote back. "Opal, thank you for writing, and thank you for finally getting help. You don't need my forgiveness. You were a kid dealing with confusing feelings. That's not a crime. That's something that needed adult guidance and professional support. I'm not angry at you. I never was. I'm angry at the adults who handled this so poorly, who blamed me instead of helping you, who chose exile over communication. You deserved better from them. I hope therapy helps. I hope you learn that feelings, even confusing, inappropriate ones, don't make you a monster. They make you human, and humans need help sometimes. I'm glad you're getting that help now. Take care of yourself. Uncle Danny." I hit send. Then I closed my laptop. That was 3 weeks ago. I'm still in Seattle. Still in therapy. Still processing everything. My family hasn't reached out since that day. No apologies, no attempts at reconciliation. Just silence. Different from before, because now I know why. People keep asking me if I feel better now that I know the truth. Honestly, not really. The truth didn't heal anything. It just showed me who my family really is. People who choose comfort over courage. People who would rather exile someone than have difficult conversations. People who blame the innocent rather than help the vulnerable. That's who they are. And now I have to decide if that's something I can ever forgive. I don't know if I'll ever talk to my family again. I don't know if Opal will continue therapy. I don't know if Ruby will ever admit she was wrong. What I do know is this. I didn't deserve what happened to me. Opal didn't deserve to be failed by her family. And sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it just shows you the cage you've been in. I'm building a new life here. New job, new city, new routines. No family barbecues, no game nights. Just me, my therapist, and the slow work of healing from something that never should have happened. People tell me I should forgive them. That family is family. That holding onto anger will only hurt me. Maybe they're right. But I'm not ready yet. Maybe I never will be. And I think that's okay. Because forgiveness isn't something you owe to people who hurt you. It's something you give when you're ready. If you're ever ready. And right now I'm not. Last week, I went to a local support group for people estranged from their families. I thought I'd be the only one with a story this absurd.
Hey, dear listeners, this is Talks from the Net. I hope you all enjoying the content. Please support my channel by liking this video and subscribing my channel.
I wasn't. Families exile people for the strangest reasons. For being different, for asking questions, for existing in a way that makes others uncomfortable. My story wasn't unique, and somehow that made it worse, because it means this happens all the time. Families choosing the easy, wrong over the hard right. People being blamed for things they didn't do. Silence being used as a weapon. It happens all the time, and most people never get answers. At least I got that, even if the answers weren't good ones. So that's my story. I was cut off by my entire family for something I didn't do. I spent 6 months thinking I'd done something unforgivable. I moved across the country to escape the confusion. And when I finally learned the truth, it didn't fix anything. Because sometimes the truth is just another kind of pain. I don't know what the moral of this story is. Maybe it's that family isn't always safe. Maybe it's that communication matters more than comfort. Maybe it's that protecting people sometimes means having hard conversations, not avoiding them. Or maybe there's no moral. Maybe it's just a story about how people fail each other, and how sometimes you have to walk away from people you love because they're not capable of loving you back the way you need. If you're watching this and you're estranged from your family, I see you. If you've been blamed for something you didn't do, I believe you. If you've been exiled without explanation, I understand. And if you're still waiting for answers that may never come, I'm sorry. Some families don't know how to handle complicated situations, so they make someone the villain. And sometimes that someone is you. It's not fair. It's not right. But it happens, and surviving it is enough. You don't have to forgive. You don't have to reconcile. You don't have to let them back in. You just have to keep going. Build a new life. Find new people. Learn that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who choose to stay, even when things get complicated. That's my story. 3 parts, 6 months, 1,700 miles. No happy ending. Just truth. And the slow work of learning to live with it.